Today's build focuses on the Void Titan using the Heart of Inmost Light exotic. This build has high overshield uptime as well as high Devour uptime, and it actually was recently buffed because in Season 21, Bastion was given a second Fragment slot, so Titans have more firepower in their arsenal on their Void builds. So let's start with the exotic, Heart of Inmost Light. Use one ability to empower the other. You're going to see the 400% and up to 800% additional melee and grenade energy that the exotic provides. We're going to take advantage of Offensive Bulwark and Bastion to get an overshield, which is also going to increase our grenade recharge rate, and Bastion is going to give us that overshield. So we will cast our barricade to then get an overshield. While we have that overshield, our grenade is going to recharge faster. We can empower our grenade to recharge even faster with Heart of Inmost Light. So that's the build in a nutshell. Let's take a look at the class and the fragments. Now, as for our class ability setup, we're going to be using Ward of Dawn because it's one of the fastest charging supers in the game, and it's going to provide us bonus weapon damage when we step in and then out of our bubble. So that's going to pair nicely with the build because we also run one of our fragments, Echo of Undermining, where our Void Grenade is going to weaken targets. So because they're also weakened and we have some outgoing bonus damage, that's going to pair nicely together. We run the Rally Barricade just because it has a shorter cooldown than the Towering Barricade, because Towering Barricade also had a cooldown nerf and it takes longer to get Towering Barricade. Run the Jump of your choice. You could also run the Melee of your choice, but I like Shield Throw. This allows me to stay back and play a little bit more safely. As for the grenade, run the Vortex Grenade, as it's going to pair nicely with our Echo of Remnants fragment, where our lingering grenade effects are going to have an increased duration. So because we're weakening them, we want it to last a little bit longer with Remnants. Because we have Bastion and Offensive Bulwark, what we're doing is we're just making sure that we have our grenade up all the time, and it's always going to be off of cooldown. That Vortex Grenade lasts longer. And then we're also going to make it so that when we pick up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power, which only in this build will we be making Orbs of Power, it's going to grant us Devour. We're also going to have Persistence so that Devour lasts longer. So we're going to have Devour on top of having an Overshield from Bastion, which is going to make us very survivable and very tanky in endgame content. So that's a quick rundown of the full class kit. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the artifact mods and then our armor mods. When it comes to artifact mods that are going to buff the build, we're going to first look at Monochromatic Maestro. Monochromatic Maestro states that when you deal elemental ability damage, it's going to increase matching weapon damage. And then elemental weapon damage increases matching ability damage. The bonus is 10% for 5 seconds. So because we already have Heart of Inmost Light buffing our abilities and empowering them, we're going to take advantage of Monochromatic Maestro and buff our ability damage on top of what Heart of Inmost Light can do, and buff our weapon damage every time we throw out one of those empowered abilities from Heart of Inmost Light. So we're always going to be having this ability buff happening in the background for us without even really having to think about it. And then because the build is focusing on ability usage through Heart of Inmost Light, we're definitely going to take advantage of Elemental Fury. Anytime we're stunning a champion, we're going to get some bonus damage going to them from our abilities, which is going to help pair nicely in the build. Last in this column is Refreshing Pickups. We're going to pick up an Elemental Orb, which is going to be from Elemental Orb's Void, and then we're going to deal some additional damage. When it comes to anti-champion, just go with what you prefer here. I could suggest some weapon loadouts. I've been using Bastion, Age-Old Bond in this build, and I've also been taking advantage of Word of Crota. And then you can use something like Null Composure as well in this build. There's also Corrective Measure and Commemoration. But that's going to wrap up the artifact mods, and then we'll move on to the armor mods now. Quick rundown of the mods here. We're running Harmonic Siphon to work with our Void weapons so we can generate orbs and be able to get Devour procced. Kinetic Siphon just to back up if you're going to run Wither Horde or something like that. That's very potent at making orbs. You can run Kinetic Siphon, then run one copy of Heavy Ammo Finder. This will be important if you're running something like Leviathan's Breath for high damage output. Then we're going to run one copy of Firepower so our grenades can make some orbs that we can use to get Devour going again. Then this is going to help with the Heart of Inmost Light, Impact Induction. Throwing our melee is going to reduce our grenade cooldown. And then we're going to get class ability when we cause damage with a grenade. Also something else that synergizes in with Heart of Inmost Light and Offensive Bulwark. Run the resist mods of your choosing. I'm running Solar Resist and Arc Resist here. And then we run 1 copy of Emergency Reinforcement when our shields are broken. And we can consume 3 stacks of armor charges when that happens. We'll get a 10% damage resistance upon reaching critical health, and that will last for 6 seconds, just some extra survivability in the build. Then on our legs, we have Insulation. This is going to reduce our class ability when we pick up an orb, which will give us full health because of Devour. And then we have Orbs of Restoration, so we can get an extra 10% to our lowest ability at that time. And then Absolution, which is also going to spread out ability energy to all 3 of our abilities. Then on our class item, we're going to run a copy of Bomber to reduce the grenade cooldown when we use our Barricade. Powerful Attraction is going to help us just not have to go chase down orbs. And then lastly, Reaper, which is going to generate an orb after we use our class ability and then get a weapon kill. So that's a quick breakdown of everything there. And then I just want to wrap up the build and say, I think this was a really great move by Bungie to give us an extra fragment slot here. And it allows the Heart of Inmost Light Void build, which has kind of been under the radar because we had a season of Arc when the change came through. And then the new Strand aspects this season have really opened up a lot of new builds and new gameplay mechanics. So Void really hasn't been in the spotlight that much, but I do think it is a solid build and it's shredded through master content just fine. And I would have no problem taking this in to a Grandmaster with a Void Singe. So that is my thoughts on the build. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the build in the comments down below. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.